Hello everyone and welcome to Draft Diff Off-Season Redux, a draft tournament featuring a lot of the players that you might see trying to qualify for the North American Strikers League and North American Strikers Academy. And speaking of that league, I have one of its voices here with me right now, AJ Cannon, hello. And I'm being way too formal for no reason because we've only casted together for NASA.
Salutations, fellow casters, sire, joining me on the desk on this fine evening. Now, for some absolutely splendiferous, splendid Omega Strikers. Pretty sure splendiferous was a nonsense word that, Dr. Seuss used or something. But, but yeah, it's going to be fun. Got the Launchpad adjacent draft diff here. So, I guess a trial run for Launchpad for a lot of people. Seeing how they fit into similar ranks. It's going to be pretty nice to see the plays, and for everyone like me that's going to be doing a last-minute climb, this is going to be a great way to get those last tips that will definitely push you into Chally. And it's not copium at all.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But we're heading right into the game here. And we've got Katsuna, who was renamed to Iuko Kita. Wait, that cannot be right. It's Kita from Bochi.
Yeah. I think it's Katsuna, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's Katsuna, but it's supposed to be Ikuyo Kita, not Iuko. Whatever. Well,
maybe it was taken.
Yeah, it was probably taken. And they're up against the Hot Pockets, which consist of Flowers, ZZZ, and Alonzo. And Alonzo, especially, is a player that has a Pro League, has done pretty well in general, but hasn't really shown up in tournament that much. So being in Top Cut, being in playoffs of this bracket is already really interesting, and we'll have to see how Alonzo stacks up here.
Yeah, always nice to see those new faces coming in, strutting their stuff, and, seeing how they fit in. Because it's one of those things, sometimes, they don't play pro for a reason, they just bomb, they're not used to team play, even if they're really good in solo queue. But other times, they just come out and they just start wrecking house, and it's like, why is this person not in NASA?
And speaking of some factors in this game, starting Awakenings, Reverb, Monumentalist, and you already see those slimes massive, but Flowers is going to be looking to use that Monumentalist to try and get some big finishes. Yeah.
One of the other things, though, is a lot of respect coming out of very demure, very mindful with the Vice ban against Flowers. Flowers, a notorious Vice main, not quite one trick, but definitely has far more games of Vice and far more experience on that, so not something you want to be up against. Even if the Awakenings aren't stellar for the Vice, just showing that respect. And of course, the now Ben following. But that is going to be a kill coming down on the field here. I believe that's first blood onto the X. I'd say that X is probably one of the most first-blooded characters in the game, because he tends to be very squishy at first, and he can't really fight back until he gets that ultimate, so he's just going to get dash punched by Julies and such, but ZZ going to be taking the first goal.
Yeah, very interesting to first pick the X here, if you look at the draft a little bit, as it's tiny on the bottom left corner of the screen. First pick X coming out of Hot Pocket, not Hot Pockets, first pick X coming out of the side of Very Demure, Very Mindful for Lola Mao, giving up that signature Luna of Katsuna and over to ZZZ, who was once known as a Luna player, now just a general damage beast. So very interesting how this draft turned out, trying to give Lola Mao some comfort here. But overall, so far, like has been mentioned, Flowers and ZZZ, two of the foremost killers in Omega Strikers. They're two of the most damage players in the game, and we see that right here as Flowers misses a strike timing, and the Slimes will find the goal.
Sometimes damage players aren't the best at core control, more likely to miss those strikes in critical moments. Used to being the ones brawling and not the ones getting brawled as much, so it's always funny to see that happen. But of course, they are pretty good at core control, so we're just giving them a little flack because it's fun to make fun of KO comp people. But
that's real.
Big finish coming out, though. What was that?
That's so real. It's not like they're bad. She's not a bad player. It's just really fun to say that you're a KO player, you can't core control. Speaking of core control, Katsuna's doing a lot in this midfield here on the Juno with the extra size of the Monumentalist Slimes, making sure the core stays forward and Lola Mao and set up in position to take the barrier here.
That is going to be another kill coming on, this time onto Flowers. We've had both of sort of two damage dealers, as you say both of them, but there's many damage dealers in this game. But we've had two damage dealers go into the net instead of the core. Also the little drums bouncing everybody around here. The big finish, though, from Flowers, really good at forcing out the corp from Naga Strike. ZZZ trying to go in there with the Rocket Dash, but just not on time there. Really well played by Naga Strike. And bounce off of the center as well is really nice by Flowers there. Really trying to get an angle over here to ZZZ, but it's not quite enough. The Crater Maker from Luna doing a ton of damage to Katsuna, but it's not quite enough to get the kill, so there's a very low Juno still on the field, but can still throw those slimes and have a lot of presence until she dies right then with the big finish.
Yeah, Manya big finish damage playing a part here, but the Tofu Fortress might be a bit too difficult. Naga Strike, another good roll. That's the second good roll against ZCC Naga Strike has had, looking very solid on the defense. And wins yet another strike war against the Luna, but finally setting up with the Crater, it will be ZZZ securing the goal. And despite it looking shaky for the Hot Pockets, they do secure it. That they are up now. And now begs the question, right? It's still early game X. It feels like Lolda Mao can't really get in there. Limitations of the character and all that. So they would really like this first set. But even if they don't, I feel like it's just a whatever type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the big things to always mention with X is that scaling. So it'll be nice to see how Lolmao scales. But if he's already putting in the work and getting some kills and getting some damage and some core control out there, it's really going to be nice to see how much stronger that gets. And that might be the deciding thing. Yuko being saved by the drum there, almost killed by it, but not quite. Even there as well, just barely staying alive, much to the chagrin of ZZZ there. Not being able to get the kill. The card as well from Flowers misses, and so does Alonso's barrier beam. That's going to be a miss there, but the kill flip comes out in the end. Finally, the Juno is killed. There's a power play here for the next 8 seconds, but they did use a ton for that, and that's going to be a kill onto Luna. Just with Lolmao, really nicely done with the X Maximus, finding that bell ringer to dribble. The pass splitter comes out really nicely. Pass around to Juno up to X, but a nice triple take there from Flowers. And the big finish as well to get the barrier. Good core control there from Flowers. Core flip force out of Alonso. Gonna try and get it forward, but just can't get it around this Juno.
Good saves coming out, and I seem to have a ton of packet loss. What's going on? 17%, but that doesn't matter. Naga Strike with a flip right through the middle. Well placed to make it 2-2. 5th point coming up, and they're keeping it really close. Both goalies are performing.
Yeah, a little bit of a robot Saya cast, but good points there. The tie-up as well.
The stream disconnected.
The stream might have disconnected. Yeah, I was going to keep on going just so when we get back, it gets back, but the things do happen sometimes. Big finish is really nice. That is also going to be a lot of damage onto Juno. Almost dead again, and they're actually dead. Nice rocket dash from ZZZ finds the kill.